Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan page with plot synopsis and character bio. So we are looking at Classic X-Men number 11 from 1987. Now, this cover is not by the great Arthur Adams. He was too busy doing the X-Men Annual that year. I think it was X-Men Annual 10, the one with the X-Babies. And so, Bob Layton filled in, and he is the cover artist. Bob Layton, of course, is very famous for his Iron Man run. He had 2 runs at Iron Man. So, he ended up doing the cover. Not bad. It is actually similar to the original cover, which was for X-Men 103 by Dave Cockrum. So we see here, very nice. So you can see that Bob Layton essentially did an homage cover. The frontispiece, though, is done by Mike Mignola. So look at this amazing image of Black Tom Cassidy and the Juggernaut. Look at this. His signature was a little different back then. I actually liked that signature, but it's evolved just like him. So look at this. I have posted in my both Instagram and Twitter. I've posted a drawing I did of Juggernaut because I was inspired by these last couple of issues. So feel free to check that out if you would like. So we're going to keep going here. Real quick, sorry, let me go back. Chris Claremont is the writer for everything. It does not look like there is any supplemental, but John Bolton is the only thing. Normally, we've got, with Chris Claremont adding some stuff, but like I said, the X-Men Annual perhaps took some time, so here we go. All right, we're going to pick up where we left off last week. Last week in the last issue here. So, we're in Ireland. By the way, I have a playlist I started covering with Giant Size X-Men number 1. I am using Classic X-Men for a while because of the supplemental material. So check that out. I think the supplemental material tends to add a little bit more exposition. So. Alright. Did you hear, Donald? The castle has gone all quiet. Aye, the battle is over with Black Tom Cassidy and Juggernaut, the victors. And you can see that these little elves are taking Nightcrawler. And as for Banshee and his fellow X-Men, they're all as good as dead. Not all, Padriac. We managed to save this one called Nightcrawler. Now hush up and let's get this boyo to safety while we've still got the chance. So, it does look like we do have a supplement page, but it does look like this supplement was drawn by Dave Cockrum here. So, we basically have a recap of what happened in the previous issue. So, I won't read all that. And so, as you can see, Juggernaut managed to defeat the new X-Men all by himself. This is a great panel here. So, Donald, the fella's waking up. What'll we do? Hold on to him, you silly nit, and keep him quiet. If he starts yelling, we're lost. But that's easier said than done. Watch out, he's free. Hold on, Wolverine, out. And then he's like, Wolverine, where are you? Ack, where am I? I must be dreaming. What happened to the battle? And who are these people? You're all little, and your ears are pointed like mine. am dreaming because that would mean you're. No, that's impossible. So he believes that a world like someone like him can exist, but no elves, right? So, leprechauns, fantastique. I'm telling to I'm talking to real. Oh wait, until I tell my friends. Main God, my friends, the battle. What happened to them? So, they've been captured, Nightcrawler, by Black Tom and the Juggernaut. Who? Oh, it's Eamon O'Donnell, my friend. And so he's gonna basically say or tell Nightcrawler how everything kind of began. It began about a month ago when Black Tom Cassidy tricked his way back into the castle that once been his home. He brought Juggernaut in with him, and you can guess what happened next. That first night, they took most of the families prisoners and held their lives hostage against my good behavior. And not just for himself alone either. He took orders from a tall man in red armor and a horned helmet. I tried to get a warning out through a lawyer Flaherty, but he misunderstood, thinking that Tom was after the castle, Banshee's inheritance, never realizing that was what Tom wanted, was Banshee's life, all your lives. So we can see Eric the Red is who's in the background, kind of being covered up. So Nightcrawler says, a man with a Viking-sounding name. I think I know who you mean. But first things first, we need to plan a rescue, my friends. And the little elf says, a moment, Nightcrawler, I've been wondering. When we found ye, part of ye that lay in shadow disappeared. How do you do that? You must be mistaken. I can't do anything like that. Don't tell me, boyo. I saw it. So, matter of fact, your face is always in shadow. That I knew, but this other thing, it shouldn't be too hard to check. And so you can see he does check it. Now, keep in mind that it shouldn't work that way. And I know it's comics, let's not overthink it. But he's wearing a costume. The costume can't disappear. Like, he'd have to be naked. But guess we can't do that, so we will just go with it. So that's incredible. My hand, it was invisible. So part of his power is he's able to blend in the shadows. So, all right. This guy says, Eamon O'Donnell, come quickly. Black Tom has the X-Men in his laboratory. He's planning to torture them. So, and so like other parts, we have new parts mixed in with older parts. So, a man with a Viking sounding name, Eric the Red. But who is he and why does he wish the X-Men dead? We'll get to that. Eamon O'Donnell, come quickly. So, that part was already covered here. All right, follow me, Nightcrawler. I'll have you there in no time. I only pray we're not too late. You're not, O'Donnell, for all the good that does. Oh, my Lord Eamon, my friends. I know, lad, I feel the same way. And so here are the X-Men. So, and so here they're whispering here. Because my friends, the leprechaun families, are being held in the dungeons behind this lab. Calm yourself. Sorry, then this other part, as Black Tom says, calm yourself, Juggernaut. What does it matter that Nightcrawler has escaped? Alone he can do us no harm, and the other X-Men's powers are neutralized. They're helpless. Once I've activated my neuronic tangler glove, we can begin our work here in earnest. Look at Wolverine. We don't need your fancy glove, Tom. If you want my stepbrother's people hurt, the Juggernaut has power to do that and more. No, Kane, this is one instance where brute force isn't the answer. You see, my friend, there's a limit to the amount of physical force a body can stand. Your way would probably kill the X-Men long before they've served their purpose. But my way ravages the mind, yet leaves the body undamaged. Exquisite, never-ending agony. Xavier will do anything to spare his peoples that kind of pain. He'll even let us kill him. And so, in New York City at the hospital, Storm, she's in agony, resisting the pain, but I cannot. My control over my mental powers, a shadow of its former self, can't mute my rapport with the X-Men. Moira, get Cyclops quickly. And so he calls out for Moira again, but comes that alien. We'll find out who that alien is later. Dear heaven, get out of my mind, you phantom. Why do you keep tormenting me? Leave me alone. And then Moira's like, Charlie, it's Moira. Calm yourself. And so he tells her again, and he believes he's going crazy. And so back at the castle again, new stuff. It just throws me off because Dave Cockrum did the new stuff himself. So, but we just kind of have to go by the style. His style, of course, has changed. So it's the professor they want. That gives me an idea. If it doesn't work, though, Eamon, send my body to Xavier School for your gifted youngsters. And so Nightcrawler teleports. Now, remember, he has that little image inducer, and you can see it right here. What's that stink? Smells like fire and brimstone. Tom, he's here. Xavier's here. I understand you wish to see me, Juggernaut. There was no need to threaten my students. All you had to do was ask. You've got it wrong, my dearly hated stepbrother, because all Tom and I want from you is your life. I see, and you can see Xavier jumps out of the way. I hope you'll excuse me if I don't let you take it. Ah, Kane, you must be getting slow in your old age. Is that why you needed someone to help you ambush the X-Men this time? And Juggernaut's like, you're laughing at me. Of course, dear brother. There's so much of you to laugh at. And Juggernaut's like, shut up, shut up. And of course, Black Tom recognizes what's going on. Kane, there's something wrong here. I thought you said Xavier was a cripple. That's enough out of you. And he hits Black Tom. Consider this a partial payment for what you did to Nightcrawler. You've such an affection for the Goblin, Xavier. I'll be glad to blast you the same way I did with him. And suddenly he's sticking to the wall. And so Juggernaut then, of course, knows that it's not Xavier. And that it's Nightcrawler. And he hits so hard it shatters. And of course, Storm is able to see the sky. Because she's claustrophobic. So, a moment. That's all it takes. As the traumatic claustrophobia that held Storm prisoner far more effectively than any of Black Tom Shackles falls away. The witch, what's she doing? And so she uses the Storm to free the X-Men. Free, gods of the earth and air be praised. I am free. Anything you say, lady, but how about putting Petey and me down, huh? And so she drops them. It's funny how his costume will eventually evolve, but with those pointy. And so they're glad that she's finally herself. So back at what's left of Black Tom's lab, the walls have indeed come tumbling down. And so one of the elves here says, that sudden wind, it smashed everything. I think we've got a way out. And so Black Tom is yelling at the Juggernaut. You and your bloody temper, if you hadn't cut loose like at that wall like that. I know, Tom, I'm sorry, but we still have Banshee. And they're like, let's go. And not a peep a lot of you. So they're going to try and get Nightcrawler again. So outside, Colossus is trying to free Wolverine. He's like, it's no use. They are made of a metal even I cannot break. And Storm says, may I help you, gentlemen? And Wolverine says, look, lady, if Colossus can't break it, what do you think you can do? And suddenly she touches and frees. Part of it is her time as a thief, which we will eventually get to her origin. We've seen parts of her origin, but we're going to get a full origin of her in much later issues after John Byrne arrives. In my time, Wolverine, I was the best lockpick in Cairo, but we'll talk of that later after we've rescued our friends. So here comes Black Tom and the Juggernaut. All right, Keen, we've arrived through that door. and we'll be on the castle's battlements. Why'd you bring me up here, Tom? You planning to throw him off? If it comes to that. But first we're going to try talking. Hear me, X-Men. We have Banshee up here with us. If you want him alive, you'll come up and get him. You have 5 minutes, my friends, till we start sending him down to you. A piece at a time. And Storm says, it's a trap. And Wolverine's like, no kidding, lady. But so long as they got the Irish prisoner, they're holding all the aces. What about Nightcrawler? We cannot just stand here and watch. So, up goes Storm. Very well, then. If Black Tom wishes us to fight for Banshee's freedom, then fight we shall, as only the X-Men can. And Wolverine. Again, this is early on. We haven't quite flushed out the identities of who Wolverine is and you know, the relationship. So, if it seems out of character for what you are familiar with as Wolverine, it's okay. It's just Chris Claremont trying to still figure out how to best get Wolverine. You dumb broad, come back here. You go charging up there alone, you'll get yourself killed, yells Wolverine. Oh, for crying out loud, lady. How are we supposed to follow you, huh? And Colossus' hand from behind. Wolverine, I told you to never call Storm a broad again, and I meant it. Happy landing, Stuverish. And you can see Wolverine yelling, hey! So, very cool. And so, Colossus is going to go the hard way. It's a pity, though, that there's no one left to throw me. I'm afraid I'll have to climb this wall the hard way. And so Juggernaut's like, hard way is right, you steel-skinned chump, because climbing that wall makes that wall like that makes you a sitting duck. A blind man couldn't miss. But didn't he just throw Wolverine and Storm up? And I thought Storm was already up there. So, all right. So here's Storm. I haven't read these in forever. So as I'm going over these comics with you, I'm looking at them for the first time in years. And so Black Tom says, you deal with our armored comrade Kane. Storm is mine. I could blast ye with my own mutant power, but why exert myself when I've machines to do it for me? And so Storm is like, energy blasters built into the castle's rooftops. Right. Oh, 70s comics. But where did they come from? Banshee mentioned nothing of such weaponry, and their appearance and power are unlike any I've ever seen. But if Black Tom wishes to a test of strength, the Mistress of Winds shall not be found wanting. As the battle begins, the sky is clear with hardly a cloud to mask the stars. That quickly changes as Storm's efforts to warp weather patterns for miles around. Do your worst, Bimbo. I'll laugh it off. Colossus is history. And before tonight's done, it'll be your turn. And so, it's just funny to see these. These issues of X-Men are not my favorite. I think Chris Claremont is still finding his footing. We know that he's going to create some of the greatest X-Men stories, or period, stories of any kind coming up. But, you know, sometimes on your way up, sometimes you do stumble a little bit. And I do think that these issues after the creation of the Phoenix was him stumbling down, because it just doesn't make sense. But it's okay. We'll continue. So Storm says, Goddess, the plasma beams came closer with every shot. If not for my hours of training in the danger room, these beams would have burned me to a crisp. And you can see Juggernaut grabbing that rock. What does it take to kill you, mutants? Far more than even you are capable of, murderer. As Peter deflects the rocks that Juggernaut throws at him. And Storm is like, Peter's in more trouble than he will admit, but I dare not stop to aid him until these blasters are silenced. And she uses her lightning powers to render one of them. A few minutes ago, this had been a calm, clear night, with hardly a cloud to mask the stars, but that has changed, as a fury of Storm's attacks twists weather patterns for miles around, creating an instant the worst Atlantic gale in living memory. And so Wolverine's like, Colossus, you stupid. You threw me so flaming hard, I landed on the wrong side of the flaming castle. How do you expect me to get on the fight, for crying out loud? And this leprechaun says, I can help you, Mr. Logan, huh? Who the blazes are you, bub, and how do you know my name? I'm called Patriarch, mate, and we little people know a lot of things. No way, bub, the Wolverine don't believe in leprechauns. Suit yourself. Maybe leprechauns don't believe in talking Wolverines either. Now, you coming with me or not? So, again, I just think that this issue is so silly, but it's okay, you know. But it is a bit silly when you think of you know, the X-Men and what they've done. But you know, to run, you got to learn how to crawl, and I think that's what's happening. You know, Claremont's just kind of adjusting and trying to figure out these characters. So Juggernaut's like, Mister, and Black Tom's like, she's fast, but the battle computers are beginning to compensate. They'll soon have her pinned in a crossfire, and that will be the end of it. And Banshee thinks, you'd crow a different tune if I were loose, cousin, but I'm not. I have to stand and watch you as you murder my friends. And he's like, oh. And of course, Nightcrawler's behind him and snaps him. Thank your leprechaun friends for showing me the way up here. Oh, we've been spotted. Tom, that blue goblin's freed Banshee. Stop him, came before. Too late, cousin. I'm loose of your sonic gag, and as well, and you'll not make a prisoner of me again. Banshee, the Juggernaut. Not to worry, Nightcrawler. Juggernaut can't charge us with no floor underneath him as he screams this. It's funny as he's talking and screaming at the same time. Curse your sonic scream, Banshee. You're a fool if you think a fall can stop me. All you've done is put off your desk for the time it takes me to climb the stairs. And here are the X-Men. Then you will not climb these stairs, Juggernaut. You called it Colossus. Sides, Juggy. You owe us a rematch. And Juggernaut says, what makes you think this will end differently than our first battle? You've just signed your death warrants, X-Men. Banshee's going after Black Tom. And Black Tom thinks, that's the spirit, Sean Cassidy. Play the hero and rush Blither into my trap. And so he went to go get that axe, but he missed him. No, you don't, cousin. I may be old, but I'm not stupid. And now I've got I've got a weapon of my own. And so the two of them do go on a fight with, again, it's okay. All right, we continue. You know, even when I read these issues as a kid, I thought they were silly. So in 1987, let's see, 74. So I was 13 years old. And I don't know. I don't know. I read these and I'm like, I knew then they weren't. I didn't like them. So, but I liked all the issues kind of leading up to it. So, and of course I had already picked up, you know, there were already 10 years worth of X-Men. So I knew that the stories were better. During this time, so we were getting ready for Fall of the Mutants on the regular X-Men. So Fall of the Mutants was starting to happen. So I was already, you know, I knew what the X-Men were, so I was able to kind of put up with it. But I don't know whether you will think that these are good. This particular story with going into the castle is a good story or not. That's up to you. Art is subjective. Some people may think this is a great story. I thought it was rather silly, but that's just me. Anyway, so Black Tom is gonna get him, but Banshee kicks him out and pushes him off. And Juggernaut's like, Tom, out of my way, you costume clown. Look out. He's like, hold on, Tom, I'm coming. He was my only friend I ever had, X-Men. And so help me, if you've killed him, I'll make you pay. And he lands on the water. Storm makes the storm stop. And so up here, for the moment, it seems the battle is over. And all is once more well with the world for the moment. And so we get this epilogue here. You see Magneto here. I will brook no more failures. Is that understood? Princess Nurami is due to reach the Earth in a matter of weeks. Whatever happens after that, she must not contact the X-Men. She will not, my liege. You have my word. I now have an ally worthy of the name of X-Men's oldest, deadliest foe. Xavier and his students will be dead before they realize that they're under attack. And next issue, the gentleman's name is Magneto. Enough said. So, and here's kind of the thing. Why is this battle over? I mean, Juggernaut would, they don't really explain it, but Juggernaut would just climb back up and whatever. But hey, you can't fight the Juggernaut forever, so... All right, so then, of course, this is classic X-Men, so we get a backup story. So this backup story is a kind of Storm solo story. If you could kind of go with that. So it's a bit of a drama piece. He accomplishes a lot in 8 pages, so it's pretty cool. John Bolton, of course, is the artist of the backup part. John Bolton is a Brit, so I had never heard of John Bolton or even seen his art until Classic X-Men, and then I saw him after. He's a masterful, I master of the pen and ink, and able to compose some really good stories. So here we go. There's a lot of it's funny that they're gonna say words, because this is chock full of a lot of words. So I'm gonna just kind of go with it and hopefully get this done within 10 minutes or so. So here we go. Words: stock and trade. What made my world go round? Where'd they go? So we have a writer here essentially going through writer's block. Why'd they turn so nasty, get so stale? A week's work. A ream of paper, typewriter, ribbon, inks, cartridge, notepads, cans of Coke, the odd chocolate wrapper, too many cigarettes, all garbage. And so the title of our story, Hope. I stare at the white page, and all I see is a white page. No pictures, no dreams, no joy. And so we got an answering machine. For those of you that don't know that, it's what people had before voicemail. Phil here. Wait for the tone. Leave a message. I'll be back. Promise, chump. This is Reg. I'm tired of talking to your bloody machine, Phil. I know what you're going through. I'm your editor, but you got to meet me halfway. I can't cover you forever. You have some sympathy for my position, chum. We're hard up against the deadline. And click, you hear. And of course, he's like, you think I don't know that? As he throws it down. You think I don't bloody care? The rot of his, chummo, I don't. And you can see how frustrated he is. I made a royal mess. Perhaps if I sit long enough, it'll go away. It doesn't, so I do. Once upon a time, I was the cock of the walk. The words came like breathing, second nature. I've lost the words. I'd rather have quit breathing. That was a joke. Why don't I laugh? Once upon a time, it didn't matter where I lived, how bleak or sterile the box. And so, keep in mind here, you gotta look. Woman killer escapes. Police mount nationwide hunt. That's important. Never in comic books, you never show anything unless you're gonna use it. So, because that was the Sorry, because that was only somewhere to park the bod while the old imagination went wandering. I roamed the world in stars, crafted the most daring deeds, wooed the most fabulous ladies. It wasn't reality, it was adventure, till the gradual inexorable inevitable. Oh my God. It is like Chris Claremont is trying to go through a thesaurus. Um, Inevitable suddenness. It stopped being fun. So, years I've spent at your grindstone, Reg, honing my craft, building my rep. I broke my back for the company. Why can't you be satisfied with that? And it's never that second rate work that gets grief, inevitably top notch stories. The stuff I put my heart into, I'm proudest of, I care most about. Listen to yourself, man. What a whiner. Bleat, bleat, sob, sob. You're a grown man, supposedly a professional. How often have you been told nobody forces you to work here, Phil? So why don't I leave? No guts. I'll always be more scared of what I'm giving up than what I might gain. Too bloody comfortable. And he looks up. GPO Tower, the tallest building in London. And so, I'm not going to read all that. So, let's just say he walks in and he's going to basically contemplate suicide. I love how he just goes up into the building. Even in the 80s, they did have security. So, all right. So, he's going to jump off. And from up here it says, you should not stand so near the edge. You might fall. He's like, ooh, what in heaven's name? Beautiful panel here. I am Storm. And so, you're no real. You can fly. Of all the bloody luck, why are you angry? My business. Look, you don't understand. Why should you even care? You don't know me. And so, your face is familiar, she says. And he's like, yours is unforgettable. Have we met? I'm Phil Halloran. And she's like, the writer? Love how John Bolton just gives you the nose. I do that on my drawing. So if you take a look at how plainly, that's how I do a woman's nose. I essentially decided that I would take things from him, and it inspired me so much. To this day, when I do women, I do the nose like that. I only recently discovered your work. I enjoy it very much. I'm happy to meet you. Let's stay strangers. Be modern. Be sensible. Go our separate ways, and leave it at that. Okay? So, forgive me. I was alone. I saw you alone. I sensed the pain. I thought of help. And he's like, I'm flattered, but there's no need. And so, again, there's so many words. So, which is so separate from last issue, because the last issue, there was hardly any words, and so Storm shows him her power, and she takes him on a flight. Beautiful panel. I just adore this, showing him all uncomfortable and how beautiful panel here. Absolutely riveting. John Bolton, you can see how excited he is. John Bolton is such a dynamic penciler. He draws the most beautiful women, and look at that. And he gets his own little rain cloud and all that kind of stuff. So, basically, she puts him down. Now, you can see someone's coming, and he's asking Storm a question, but Storm is not answering. So, of course, we see this security guard here who has knocked her down. So, basically, the killer says, hey, you wanted to jump, go right ahead. My business is with the lady. And he's like, you're the killer, the one the police are after. And he's like, right you are. So, he's off off to go, sees it, and then feels like he's a coward and all that kind of stuff. So you can see him there kind of contemplating to jump again. Just so many words. I try to read along with you, but sometimes it's just too many. So he decides he's going to go fight for Storm. And the two fight. She wakes up and uses her electricity kind of like to hit the killer with a lightning bolt of some kind, and uses her power to throw him against the wall. And so he goes to Storm and says, "You saved me." And she's like, "You provide me opportunity. Rest. Try not to talk. You may be concussed. I'll tie up our prisoner, then ring the police and ambulance. And afterwards," and so she tries to hold, but she doesn't want him to kill himself. He goes, "It's my life, Storm, to do as was pleased. Then, my friend, with all my heart, I beg you, do not throw it away. Question always been, will I be doing that by dying or staying alive?" And she says, "While you live, you hope. And and with hope, there's always the possibilities." He's like, "Maybe and maybe not. The choice is mine." So, Fire at Night will be the second part. I don't know what you thought of it, but to all that, and the guy's still, we don't know whether or not he decides to kill himself or not. It just, but with Chris Claremont, he's always had that whole thing of you have the right to choose, and it's a trope of his, and you see that in several of his stories. So, one last thing is that there is a backup cover, and you can see this great cover by John Bolton. So John Bolton always provided a backup cover to the feature. I love the inking work. I just adore this. So he's an incredible artist. There just isn't too much comic book work from him, but what he has done is absolutely amazing. So anyway, Classic X-Men number 11 from 1987. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Goodbye.